Salam, salam, Abdullah Abbott. We have some reactions to this news. Unfortunately, my brother was taken away from us in Atlanta near the CDC. I actually got this information from a relative of mine. Shout out to Hassan. And he was telling me about different things going on within America and people being upset about big pharma or people being, there was also a shooting already with someone within the medical industry as well before things are actually coming out. And some are saying that the Trump administration is being very transparent with America, and it's what Americans appreciate. I don't agree with some of his racist rhetoric and anti-Islamic power moves, but I do see, on the other hand, things trying to be fair across the board, aside from the billionaires. So let's just check out some of his information on his brother out here in the CDC. Also, shout out to my haters. I see you guys trying to take down my page. I'm glad that my information, my message is getting out there. I hope you felt that in your soul. It was just for educational practices and showing the lies of your channel. All right. Bush. Okay, here we go. Anyways.
With apartments.com capturing the hearts of hundreds of millions of renters. Everybody wants the secret to our success, but
this morning, an urgent investigation underway after a gunman opened fire near the CDC headquarters in Atlanta, killing a police officer.
Today is a very dark day in DeKalb County.
Just before 5 p.m. Friday, multiple gunshots reported at a CVS on an intersection by the campus of Emory University and near the entrance of the CDC.
We later found the shooter on the second floor of the CVS.
Officials saying the suspects fired multiple rounds into the CDC buildings. This image taken from inside, capturing some of the bullet holes. The gunman then exchanging gunfire with first responders who scrambled to the scene, shooting a police officer before ultimately succumbing to a gunshot wound himself.
Wow. He had been struck by gunfire. We do not know at this time whether that was from officers or if it was self-inflicted.
University officials sharing this urgent warning to the campus community as the chaos unraveled. Run, hide, fight.
Bro, back up.
Nearby, residents placed on...
Telling people to fight, how they gonna fight a gunman. That's crazy when they do talk about those kind of protocols. And shout out to Amunta Kabir. I hope you're all right. I know he's out there. I spent the summer out there, like literally up the street from the CDC. Family used to work up there. Black excellence.
Lockdown, including a daycare center with 92 children inside.
She heard gunshots and there was an active shooter and they were on lockdown.
Kristen saying her wife and son, just 1.5 years old, were inside when it happened.
Angering that, my child can't be safe at daycare and my wife can't be safe picking him up at daycare.
According to the CDC, at least 4 of its buildings were shot in the attack, adding in a statement, "Our top priority is the safety and well-being of everyone at CDC. We are actively coordinating with federal, state, and local partners to fully investigate the shooter and this tragic crime." And this morning, a community mourning one of their own. The DeKalb County Police Department identifying 33-year-old David Rose as the police officer who was killed by the shooter. He leaves behind his pregnant wife and 2 children.
It's a noble profession that we all do. We answer the call to serve our community, and he gave his life with a commitment to serve others, and he should be respected.
Condolences to that brother and his family. Here's an update on the shooting.
Begin in Atlanta, where authorities just gave an update on Friday's fatal shooting outside the CDC. The DeKalb County police officer, David Rose, and the suspect both died in the shooting. CDC employees were not hurt, but the agency has ordered them to work from home. This after investigators learned the gunman tried to enter the CDC campus just before the attack. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, along with representatives from the FBI, Atlanta Police, and Health and Human Services, held a briefing just moments ago for reporters. Here are some of what authorities discovered about a possible...
We see this world changing. Like I said before, this is the new 60s. We see Americans fighting back. We see America splitting. We see politicians go against the federal government, making states their own communist nations. We see even another shooting, I think it was Texas or something like that, within Big Pharma. Someone was taken away. And a lot of these corporations' hands are very bloody. Different things with vaccines, you know, even how vaccines affect people. Got a family member of mine that didn't take the vaccine, and she's a doctor, pharmaceuticalist, surgeon, chemist, all of that, and she constantly keep getting fired because she won't take vaccines. You know, it's definitely a age of reckoning. I wonder what Trump had to say about these acts of violence against our nation's healthcare system. We understand where fentanyl comes from. We understand that these are human beings too. Just because they say something doesn't mean it's right. Just because things are signed off by FDA doesn't mean that they're good for you. The poisoning of our nation is true. Also, be careful when you're giving out vaccines to children, um, especially people of color, melanated people. Okay, it's Lord time. We get to praying. But yeah, like I said, these vaccines, these MMRs, these hepatitis, the hepatitis one, when a baby is just born, all of these things send a shock wave to the baby's system. You know, we're going to be doing a deep dive on that information coming soon on Freedom Boulevard. Free your mind from these things. Yes, Umar is a crook, but don't throw the baby with the bathwater. You know, that's like saying that the Bible has no wisdom in it. You know, even though it has been corrupted and touched, no, there's still wisdom in there. You know, this is this side right here.
Motive in the attack from writings left behind by the suspect.
The shooter had no known criminal history.
Mm.
Evidence in this investigation indicates that the shooter had recently verbalized thoughts of suicide, which even led to law enforcement being contacted several weeks prior to the incident. A search warrant executed at the residence of the shooter revealed written documentation that expressed the shooter's discontent with the COVID-19 vaccinations. These documents are currently being examined by GBI certified profilers, and they are being shared, have been shared, and will continue to be shared with the FBI Atlanta field office.
CBS News correspondent Skylar Henry was at that news conference, and he joins us now live. Skylar, what stood out to you about what was just revealed?
Well, I think the things of note, Mugo, are that the alleged shooter in this case, 30-year-old Patrick White, fired close to 200 rounds at multiple buildings on CDC's headquarters. They said that they were able to recover 500 casings in total throughout the entire crime scene. But the fact that nearly 150 were able to hit what are supposed to be blast-resistant windows on the CDC's headquarters, I think that certainly stood out. And then what you just heard there from the director here at the GBI talking about the fact that he had a written sort of complaints as it relates to the COVID vaccine altogether. And the fact that despite multiple instances where law enforcement had to come either to his home or respond to 911 calls in response to his suicidal ideations or thoughts, I think that that was certainly an interesting nugget. We also were able to ask about how he was able to access these weapons in the first place, or if they belonged to him. Turns out that they actually belonged to his father. The GBI said that the family is cooperating with this entire investigation, but the information is continuing to trickle out as we continue to learn more about not only the shooter, but what could have possibly motivated him to do what he did last Friday.
Yeah, definitely surprising hearing that the weapons from his father. At the news conference, Skylar, you asked about possible threats to the CDC. What did the FBI have to say about that?
Yeah. Well, if you can call it good news, the good news is that they say that they have not seen any sort of uptick as it relates to trends, though we have spoken to countless healthcare workers, and for that matter, we spoke to union reps of those who represent some 200 or 2,300 CDC employees who have complained and have expressed their concerns about being harassed either online or in person because
People are fed up, man. Like I said before, some of these vaccines are purposefully giving children autism, black and brown children. Yes, that means black people and people of melanated descent. Okay, black people. Well, we're all human, so actually, it's affecting people that are melanated. You know, black and brown. Okay,
of the fact that they work at the CDC and our health.
and these vaccines, you know, these are things that are being signed off by the same rich people, the same companies that don't care about you. You have to realize that these people kill more than armies, than the kids in Chirac, than a lot of people, and we just put our trust in them because they have a title, they have their education, you know, they have their power, just subservient, ask no questions. And even there's the bills trying to be passed that we have no say into what vaccines we put into our bodies. You know, this is very reminiscent of England. You know, this is not a kingdom. No, these are the states. You know, we're supposed to have a right. We have a God-given right to have a choice to put what in our system that we choose or not.
Care workers. They say that that could potentially be tied to disinformation and misinformation tied to the COVID vaccine, among other things. We asked a special
You heard that noise behind them. Dangerous out there.
agent in charge about that. Listen to this.
And people took these vaccines knowing that you can't do anything about it within years later, these experimental vaccines. And they're going to say, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. Very dangerous things, man.
Threats of that nature is always something we take very seriously and we look at. We've not seen an uptick, although any rhetoric that suggests or leads to violence is something we take very seriously. So that's something we're very sensitive to. We're going to respond to quickly should we see it in the future. But although we're tracking it, we're sensitive to it, we have not seen that uptick.
People fail to realize when you have these so-called antibodies, these vaccines, these are holding the disease with you. And if your body does not build a natural antibody, a natural cure to itself, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he know what he did when he made our bodies. You know, if we live healthy, we could live up to 100 years, you know, and it's sad because we're just trusting the same state, the same country that has been renownedly known to be corrupt, that has been known to lie for many years, and things come out later on, such as the Tuskegee experiments on Black people and a plethora of others that we know about and don't know about. People are getting fed up, man. I remember something in the news about a brother breaking into a system just to give his family some free health care and whatnot.
And to that point, we know that the CDC's Atlanta campus is undergoing a security review as we speak. Those with the union say that employees are...
Yeah, my cousins used to live right there on Peachtree by the Super 8 motel right across the street. Little French Riviera looking type Bankton.
Calling for a revamp as it relates to security protocol all across the board. And that's everything from 24/7 armed security all across the campus to hardened ports of entry. They also say that communication during the time of the shooting was lackluster, even some calling it a failure. And so they say that they want to make sure and ensure that if something like that were to happen again in the future, that everyone has the opportunity to be able to be communicated with in real time. Some saying that the union was notified of the incident that was happening on campus before the CDC sent out an official alert. And so they say that they want to try to work on that, how to streamline that bits of...
Try to work on it. That is no excuse. What are you talking about? That is insane. What are you talking about? The union was let known before the CDC. Now, how corrupt is that? What kind of system have you been? This is a government building right here. You know. Now, I wonder what really happened with 9/11. God forbid somebody try to strike my page for bullying now. You know. This is crazy.
Communication so that everyone can appropriately respond and get to safety in real time.
Yeah, definitely another important aspect you wouldn't think about until something very tragic like this happens. CBS News correspondent Skylar Henry for us in Atlanta. Thank you so much.
When you get in your car, you just need to put your location in the trip planner. It recommends where you need to stop, for how long, park, plug in, and you can go about your day. It will alert you if your charge session is coming to an end, so you can maximize your time before you have to hit the road.
Yeah, man, it's going down out here, man. It's going down. A lot of revelations will be coming through. Let me know what you think about in the comments. Abdullah Abbott, Black Live Reactions is out. Thank you so much for coming through.